Deep dive. Today we're cracking open a really fascinating topic, the flow state. Basically, what if you could boost your productivity like 500%?
Yeah.
And your creativity by maybe 600%? It sounds kind of wild.
It does sound pretty out there, doesn't it? But we're looking at sources today from neurobiology, top performance researchers like Stephen Kotler, even spiritual thinkers, and they all seem to converge on this state.
So our mission today is really to pull these threads together. What is flow? How do you, get there? And why does it seem to promise so much?
Exactly. We want to synthesize it all. And starting with Stephen Kotler's definition, he calls it effortless effort.
Effortless effort.
Yeah.
Where everything else just fades away, right? And your performance just skyrockets.
Mm-hmm. And those numbers you mentioned, they're not just pulled out of thin air. The Flow Research Collective cites studies, like one from McKinsey back in 2013.
Right.
Showing executives hitting productivity gains up to 500%. And Harvard research pointing to that 600% creativity jump.
Wow. Okay, so not just a little bump.
Yeah, not at all. And then there's learning. DARPA, the Defense Research Agency, found skill acquisition could increase by 230%, maybe even higher in later studies, like up to 490%.
That's incredible. So the claim is basically flow is the key to all the essential skills for the modern world. Focus, creativity, learning.
Pretty much. Efficiency, problem solving.
Yeah.
It seems to underpin a lot of high-level functioning.
Okay, let's get into the experience itself then. What does it feel like? I know the term flow itself comes from Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi.
That's right, yeah. He's often called the godfather of flow psychology.
And he basically figured this out by talking to people, right? Artists, athletes, everyday workers, asking them, when did you feel and perform your absolute best?
Exactly. And he found they all describe this common state, losing self-consciousness, knowing exactly what to do next without thinking, feeling intrinsically rewarded by the activity itself.
And some of the subjective markers are, they're kind of weird. Kotler talks about time dilation.
Mm-hmm. Time gets warped.
Yeah, 5 hours can just vanish, feel like 5 minutes. But then sometimes it slows right down.
Right, the freeze frame effect. People report it in high-stakes moments, like car accidents. It's like the brain is suddenly processing information incredibly fast.
And then there's the heightened senses. Intuition gets dialed way up.
Yeah, things just seem clearer, sharper.
Like the basketball player example, where the hoop suddenly looks as big as a hula hoop. Everything just clicks.
It's that feeling of being in the zone.
And physically, isn't there something about frown muscles, like they get paralyzed?
Yeah, that's an interesting finding. It suggests the brain is actually doing less conscious work, being more efficient, almost like being in robot mode.
Yeah.
But in a good way. Effortless action.
Right. And it's interesting how this high performance state connects to other things like meditation practices.
Definitely. Practices like transcendental meditation, TM, which you see being used now for trauma relief, helping veterans, people affected by, say, the LA wildfires. They aim to cultivate a similar deep inner stillness.
So it's not just about performance, it connects to well-being, to healing.
Absolutely. The inner state seems crucial for both peak performance and psychological stability.
Okay, so that's what it feels like. The big question then is, how do we actually get there? How do we trigger this state more often?
Right, the actionable part.
Yeah.
Well, it really starts with the golden rule, which is the challenge skills balance.
Challenge skills. Okay, what does that mean?
It means you need to find tasks where the challenge level is just slightly higher than your current skill level.
So you're constantly pushing yourself a little bit.
Exactly. You want to stretch, but not snap. Too much challenge leads to anxiety, frustration. Too little, and you get bored.
Makes sense. You need that engagement, that feeling of reaching.
Right. Flow requires getting comfortable with being a bit uncomfortable, always operating at the edge of your abilities.
And beyond that balance, there are specific flow triggers. You said 22 of them?
Yeah, they've identified quite a few. We can touch on some key ones. First off, concentration and environment. It's huge. You really need to carve out uninterrupted time. Think 90 to 120 minutes. Absolutely no distractions.
Turn off the phone, the email alerts, everything.
Everything. There's research showing, if a programmer in flow gets interrupted, it can take them 15 minutes just to get back into that state, if they can get back in at all.
Wow. Okay, so distraction is the enemy of flow.
Completely. Undivided attention is non-negotiable. Then there's physiological alignment.
Working with your body clock, basically.
Yeah, knowing your chronotype. Are you sharpest at 4 a.m., like some extreme performers claim? Or are you a night owl who only hits their stride at, say, 7 or 8 p.m.? You got to work with your natural energy peaks, not against them.
That makes sense. Don't try to force deep work when you're naturally tired.
Exactly. And then we have things that trigger dopamine. Dopamine is key for focus and motivation.
What kind of things trigger it in this context?
Well, novelty is a big one.
Yeah.
New information, new experiences.
Yeah.
Also unpredictability and complexity. Things that make your brain go, ooh, what's this? Even the feeling of awe, looking up in a starry sky, feeling that sense of vastness, that can actually trigger dopamine and pull you into the present.
Interesting. And smaller things too, like solving puzzles.
Yeah, pattern recognition, that little aha moment when you solve a crossword clue or a Sudoku puzzle. That gives you a dopamine hit, reinforcing that pattern spotting skill.
And risk-taking. That
Yeah.
seems counterintuitive, maybe.
Well, it doesn't have to be physical risk, like jumping out of a plane. It could be emotional risk, social risk, intellectual risk, pushing boundaries slightly. It's the drive generated by taking that step.
Right, the anticipation.
Exactly. And that drive connects directly to what are called the 5 intrinsic motivators. These kind of build on each other.
Okay, what are they?
It starts with curiosity. If you're genuinely curious about something, you get focus for free. You don't have to force yourself to pay attention.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Then curiosity often blossoms into passion, which is like, falling in love. You just pour attention on that thing effortlessly.
Okay, curiosity, passion. What's next?
Purpose. Now, from a purely peak performance angle, the sources describe this as needing to be very, very selfish, meaning it has to be your deep personal reason for pursuing something.
Your own internal why.
Exactly. And once you have that purpose,
Yeah.
you need autonomy, the freedom to actually chase that purpose your own way.
Without someone constantly telling you what to do or how to do it.
Right. And finally, that leads to mastery, developing the actual skills needed to pursue that purpose effectively. Curiosity, passion, purpose, autonomy, mastery. It's a powerful sequence.
It really is. And when you talk about purpose and mastery like that, it feels like we're moving beyond just, getting more emails done faster. It sounds like it's touching on something deeper.
It absolutely is. And this is where the spiritual perspective comes in, particularly from Advaita Vedanta, which is a school of Hindu philosophy.
Okay, how does that connect?
Well, in that tradition, flow is essentially described as non-doership.
Non-doership. Okay, break that down. That sounds like the opposite of taking action.
It's subtle. It's not about not acting. It's about surrendering the belief that there's a separate I who is the sole author of the actions.
So, letting go of the ego's claim on the action, how does that boost performance?
Think about Michael Jordan again. He was a master of getting in the zone. But he said the key to staying there was never thinking about it. The moment his mind said, wow, I'm playing great, poof, he was out of it.
So acknowledging the I doing it broke the spell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He had to become nobody, as he put it. He felt like basketball was playing him. The right moves just happened. They arose spontaneously.
That's fascinating. So the ego, defined here as that belief in personal doership, actually gets in the way of peak performance.
Precisely. In deep flow, that sense of a separate self, the internal commentator, the judge, it quiets down or disappears entirely. You don't feel like I'm living life. It feels more like life is living me, or I am being lived.
Like being a wave on the ocean. The wave is distinct, but it's still just the ocean moving.
That's a perfect analogy. And realizing that, according to this view, helps cleanse the mind of things like guilt and pride. Because if you weren't solely responsible for the success, you can't take all the credit. And if you weren't solely responsible for the failure, you don't need to carry all the blame.
It frees up a lot of mental energy, I imagine.
A huge amount. And this state of non-doership, this freedom, is often linked to what they call bliss. Not just fleeting happiness based on getting what you want,
Right.
but a deeper, no-reason happiness. A baseline state of contentment that comes from being free of desire and the constant worry about outcomes.
Okay, so if we want to cultivate this deeper state of flow, this non-doership, are there practical steps?
Yes, the sources suggest 3 core practices. First is contemplation.
Thinking about things.
Kind of. It's more like investigating the source of your thoughts and actions. Ask yourself, did I consciously decide to have that thought or perform that action, or did it just arise? Often you'll find things happen quite automatically.
Okay, examining the automatic nature of experience. What's second?
Meditation, but specifically in the sense of bringing full presence to every action. Whatever you're doing, be fully there, and crucially, leave the outcome to life or the universe,
Yeah.
however you want to frame it.
So like the example of making coffee.
Exactly. Don't just rush through it to get the caffeine hit. Pay attention to the process, the sound of the water, the smell of the grounds, the sight of it pouring. Just be present with the doing.
Enjoy the journey, not just the destination.
Pretty much. And the third practice is renunciation.
Renouncing what? Worldly goods.
Not necessarily. It's more about constantly renouncing that inner voice, that egoic commentary that keeps saying, I'm doing this, I achieved that, I failed at this.
Let go of the narrator.
Yeah, just be the witness. Observe the thoughts, observe the actions, without constantly claiming ownership. By letting go of the doer, you become a clearer channel for the doing.
Wow. Okay, so we've got these two seemingly parallel tracks. Flow is this like neurobiological superpower for getting stuff done 500% more productive.
Right, the ultimate life hack, in a way.
And flow as this profound state of spiritual mastery, requiring ego surrender and non-doership.
Exactly. And what's really compelling is that they might actually be describing the same fundamental state, just from different angles. The mechanism for peak performance is this letting go.
And the potential for this state is built into us.
Absolutely. The capacity for flow seems to be universal in humans, even apparently in most social mammals. It's part of our biological toolkit.
That's quite hopeful, isn't it? We're all capable of this.
Very much so. And it's worth pursuing because the research also shows that people who report the most flow experiences in their lives also tend to score highest on measures of overall well-being and life satisfaction.
So chasing flow isn't just about productivity, it's about a better life.
It seems that way. Constantly engaging in optimally challenging activities that absorb you fully appears to be a major key to deep fulfillment.
Okay, but that brings up a bit of a paradox, doesn't it? We heard that true mastery, that non-doership state, requires desirelessness. You have to love the action, not be attached to the outcome.
Right. Detachment from the fruits of action, as it's sometimes called.
Yeah. We also heard that the whole process is ticked off by intrinsic motivators like intense curiosity, passion, and a strong sense of purpose. Those sound a lot like desires, don't they? A desire to know, a desire to engage, a desire driving your purpose.
That is the tension, isn't it?
Yeah. So here's something for you to maybe chew on today. If reaching the highest levels of flow and mastery requires you to let go of wanting the result, how do you maintain the fire, the curiosity, the passion, the purpose that you needed to even start the journey and push through the challenges? How do you reconcile intense motivation with ultimate detachment?
A fantastic question to ponder.
Definitely something to think about as you go about your day.